Has Russia thwarted Ukraine's counteroffensive even before it could start? This question is buzzing in Europe's corridors of power, courtesy the Russian Defense Ministry. On the 4th of June, it released this footage, which apparently depicts a major Ukrainian offensive in the Donetsk region. The visuals showing armored vehicles on the move as explosions hit some of the vehicles. Moscow saying this was a large-scale attack, but the Ukrainians could not achieve their goal. Listen to this.
On the morning of 4th June, the enemy launched a large-scale offensive in 5 sectors of the front line, the South Donetsk axis, deploying the 23rd and 31st Mechanized Brigades of the Strategic Reserves of the Ukrainian Army. Other regiments supported them. The enemy did not achieve its goals. It had no success. As a result of the skillful and calculated actions of the East Group, the Ukrainian Army suffered losses of more than 250 people, 16 tanks, 3 armored personnel carriers, and 21 armored vehicles.
Now, how exactly do we view this attack? Did it represent the start of a long-expected Ukrainian counteroffensive? The much-awaited Ukrainian operation to recapture some of its territories? It could be, and if it indeed was, then this plan may have failed right at the start. Just have a look at the damages Russia claims to have inflicted on the Ukrainians. It says the Ukrainian army suffered losses of over 250 people, 3 armored personnel carriers, 21 armored vehicles, and 16 tanks. And these are not small numbers, especially if we speak of the tanks. You see, when the war started, the Ukrainian army had 800 active T-64 tanks. 14 months on, it has apparently lost around half of those tanks. If we speak of the T-84 battle tanks, Ukraine has just 5 or 6 copies of it. That's enough for just 1 platoon. The same story with the T-70 and the T-80 tanks. There aren't many of them left with Ukraine. My point is simple. Every tank Ukraine loses is probably a tank it cannot replace. And this explains why Kiev has been lobbying its allies hard for NATO-style tanks. And if Russia's claims are indeed true, if it actually destroyed 16 Ukrainian tanks, then this is a major blow to the Ukrainian army. Ukraine's silence on this further adds to the doubts. You see, on Sunday night, the Ukrainian president delivered a video address, but he made no mention of the alleged assault. Neither did Ukraine's defense ministry in any of its official statements. And interestingly, on the 4th of June, the Ukrainian military released this video. The aim was to discourage public speculation over the offensive, saying that it could help the enemy. The sleekly produced footage featured masked and well-armed frontline troops holding their fingers against their lips, gesturing for silence. The caption read, and I'm quoting, "Plans love silence. There will be no announcement of the start." Is the silence helping? That depends on who you ask, of course. The Russians say they have thwarted what might just be the beginning of Ukraine's counteroffensive. The Ukrainians are sticking to the silence, refusing to say anything on their gains or their losses. Interestingly, the only statements that are coming out are from unofficial bodies and organizations like the Russian Volunteer Corps, a pro-Ukraine group of Russian partisans. It says it has captured several Russian soldiers during a cross-border raid into southern Russia. and there are around 24 of them. By all means, this operation could not have been pulled off without the assistance of Russia's defense ministry. So at the end of the day, this is what we have. Russia countering a Ukrainian offensive, Ukraine saying no word about the losses, and pro-Ukraine Russians capturing Russian troops. This only indicates how after a brief lull, the battle has picked up again. The days ahead will be crucial, to say the least, for both the sides as they step up their operations. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.